Hey there, welcome back to Flat Tire Farm. We're a 40-acre off-grid Alaskan homestead, and we have our homemade root beer and the fire pit out, which means it's campfire time. In this campfire video, we thought we'd talk about what it's like for Alaskans in springtime. Mr. Reeve, what do you think is unique about springtime in Alaska that you think most people and our viewers would maybe know?
I think the biggest thing that's different about Alaska in the springtime is springtime is long and there's still a lot of snow on the ground.
Now, I didn't realize this till recently because, well, I've lived here since I was 4 years old. So for me, this is kind of the only winter I know. But in other places, it snows in the winter and then it melts, and then it snows and then it melts. And here, come end of October, at least in the area of Alaska that we live in, it stays cold enough that it doesn't get warm enough for the snow to melt. So it just packs up and packs up and packs up and packs up. And probably doesn't start melting until April. Until April, and it is May 1st today, and it was snowing just a couple days ago. But all of that snow that comes in our winter time, it packs down and packs down and packs down into really dense snow, so it takes a long time for it to thaw.
It may look like, when you look around the property here in our videos, that we have 4 or 5 feet of snow, when in reality, like last year, we got, I think, 21 feet of snow. But what happens is that snow can pack down to half the depth just from the weight of the new snow on top of it.
And it gets really, really heavy and really, basically, by the time we have the snow that we have now at May 1st, it is like almost just ice. It is just packed snow. It is not like the fluffy build a snowman snow. It's like don't hit it with your truck snow.
It's great for cooling down root beer, though.
It is great for cooling down root beer, that's true. Now you can see that it's been springtime enough here that there's dirt. We're on the dirt now. And we did not have to bring the folding chairs out of the house. We actually dug the camp chairs out of the snow pile. They're soaking wet, though, which is why we have towels on them. But we're happy to have the camp chairs out of the snow.
Oh, yeah. Another thing that gets really unique about Alaska in the springtime is a lot of Alaskans will have remote properties that are only accessible by snow machine in the winter or boat in the summer. And so you get a period of time, particularly in the springtime, where if you have a remote property, you might not be able to get to it for 2-3 months even, because while there's still snow on the ground, we call it rotten. When it's getting so warm during the day that the snow gets soft and almost slushy, it's just not going to support the weight of a snow machine. And the rivers, which is how a lot of people will snow machine out to their cabins, are starting to get a little bit sketchy, and so it's safer not to be riding on them come springtime. My family has a cabin just like that, and come March, we have to go out one last time and get it secured because we're not going to be able to go out there again until late May, early June.
What happens if you don't secure up a remote cabin? You worried about robbers?
No, so what happens in the spring is all winter long, you've been coming and going to your cabin, you've been enjoying it, and you've left the windows uncovered. You might have, chairs and whatnot out by a fire pit because you enjoy doing that during the winter. But come springtime, you have to get all that secured because that's when the bears come out. Yeah. And if you don't cover all your windows with bear boards, they will break into your cabin and destroy the thing looking for whatever food they can find for the spring.
Yeah, and you also have to find ways to secure all the styrofoam.
Yes, bears, little known fact, bears love styrofoam. I don't think they actually eat it. I think they just chew it up and just see how far and wide they can spread it.
They must be related to Hansel.
Yes, indeed.
Hansel, our goat, that's his favorite pastime, is destroy styrofoam all over the property.
Yeah, that's a good time.
Yeah. Okay, before we go too much further on the unique things about springtime in Alaska, we should define what we believe springtime to be, because I think it's different in different places. And at least for us, we have such a long winter. We're really eager for spring to come. And so I think that, woohoo, it got above 30 degrees. Spring is spring is here, almost here. And that period of time, from the time it starts getting above 30 degrees during the daytime till the time all the snow melts is like
from March to
May. Yeah, so you're talking 2 months. Like here we are May 1st, and like I still got 4 feet of snow everywhere. Wherever we had piled it and wherever it had packed up is still giant piles of snow. But if you're talking about the time frame, spring is the time frame where all the snow is gone and it is above freezing all the time to the time you can put your plants in the ground, you're talking about a couple of weeks. So I think when we say springtime is a long time for us, what we mean is
breakup.
Yeah. We consider it maybe more breakup than spring. What else do you think
do
is
people
unique?
use that term in lower 48, breakup?
I don't know. You have to tell us. Do you use?
Let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
We call spring breakup because the ice is breaking up on the rivers, the snow and ice along the roads is breaking up and melting. So we always called it breakup. I don't know if...
So tell us how you define spring and where you live, and put that in the comments. It'd be interesting for us to, I mean, I'm kind of, sheltered in my own little Alaskan world, and, I can be outside at 30 degrees and it's springtime,
And yet you have the calendar where they'll say, this is the first day of winter. Well, we've had 3 foot of snow for a month by then.
Right, before December 21st comes along. It's been winter a long time, boys.
Yeah, this is the first day of spring, and you're looking outside at the blizzard going, no, it ain't.
I'll tell you this one more thing, and then we'll go back to spring, but like every kid in Alaska trick-or-treats with a snowsuit on. Like, there ain't no reason to buy a costume. You could buy a wig and a mask and maybe some cool gloves, but ain't no reason that you need to have a costume because you're going to wear your snow pants over it.
And for Easter, for you parents, if you really want to mess with your kids in Alaska,
oh my goodness,
instead of coloring your Easter eggs, just hard boil them, leave them white, throw them in the snowbank, they'll never find them.
all the years that I have grown up here, I don't believe I remember one winter or one spring where I was not hunting Easter eggs in the snow. And it's not the nice fluffy snow. Like by the time April's coming around and Easter's coming around, that snow is like hard packed,
gritty,
yeah, it's like all mushy underneath but frozen ice on the top, so you step through and it scratches up your ankles and all the little ice chunks get in your boots. No.
Good times.
Yeah, good times. And it's not, the eggs aren't real hard to find. You just look for the colored spots in the white snow. Like, you gotta be, as a parent here in Alaska, you gotta be real creative about how you're gonna hide your Easter eggs in the wintertime, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
If any of the rest of you are hunting your Easter eggs in the snow, I want to know about it. Because I think it only happens here in like Siberia. Maybe our viewers from Canada. Yeah. You lovely viewers from Canada, you let me know if you're hunting your Easter eggs in the snow. All right, what else is unique about springtime in Alaska? Well, let's explain. Like for those of you that follow our channel, and watch our videos, why did we have a lake in the garden?
Yeah, let's talk about our lakefront property.
Yes.
So here's the problem with spring and why I think spring lasts a long time. So it starts to get warm during the day. Maybe it's still freezing at night, but stuff is melting. But you're not done with it, not by a long shot, because the ground is frozen several feet down. So once all that snow melts, there's nowhere for the water to go. It just stays right there in a big, huge puddle. So, and I don't know how far down south that the ground freezes hard enough that it stays frozen longer than it takes for the snow to melt, but that's how it is up here.
Along those lines, we are probably a day away from losing our driveway again.
Yep, we're there.
So we have lovely neighbors who Reeve parks his job trailer at their house because he can't pull it through our driveway anymore. Yep. And my truck is significantly lighter than Reeve's truck, and so I can usually drive on it a little bit longer. Because it just, like Reeve said, it's solid frozen underneath, but then it thaws on the top and all the water sits on top and makes all the dirt turn into just mud, slime. It's like slime. And it can't go anywhere until it's thawed long enough. And then finally the ground dries out and we can drive on it again. But we drove down the driveway today in my truck and hooey mama, it was rough. It was rough. I'll probably get down the driveway tomorrow and park at the road for the next maybe week, hopefully just a week.
Yeah. Usually it's about half as much time for Miss Crystal because she has a much lighter pickup than I do. Half as much time that she has to park at the road than I do.
Oh yeah, it's just a couple of days usually for me, and for Reeve it's a couple of weeks.
Couple weeks.
Yeah, and I think it was either 3 days or 10 days I lost the driveway last year.
10 days last year.
It was 10 days. Okay, which is way better than 3 months. Just we talked about the driveway enough. I know that you know how we feel about the driveway, so we're just gonna move forward.
Again, though, we do love our long driveway. It's wonderful.
Just not when it's muddy.
Yeah, yeah, and it will, like the rest of our homestead, be an ongoing project that will get better each year.
Yes.
So, how about you? What do you think is different here about spring than other places?
I think the planting is definitely different.
Oh, yeah.
Like we watch a lot of different homestead channels, and everybody else is already like, look at my cabbage, and and now ours are just like, our growing season is so short that our spring seed planting happens indoor, except for very few plants that have to be direct sown. And so, like, we're starting plants in our house in March, which to most people probably doesn't sound like a big deal, but we can't put plants in the ground where we are here in Willow
Till second week of June.
Yeah, till the second week in June. And so that's a really long time for plants to be inside. And so we have to be fairly creative on how to keep plants from getting too leggy, not starting them too early, but not starting them so late that they just grow leaves and never fruit before it gets too cold.
Right.
And so I think that's a fairly big challenge. It might be an easy answer to say, well, why don't you just heat your greenhouse in the shoulder season? Well, we have to have our house be super insulated so that we don't freeze to death. We couldn't heat a thin plastic greenhouse when it's still dropping below freezing for, weeks and weeks at a time. And in March, it's still below zero. Lots of days below zero.
Yeah.
It was below zero just 2 weeks ago here, and there's no way that we'd be able to keep a plastic greenhouse heated without using a huge amount of power. And resources to make that happen. We'd have to build, a double insulated greenhouse with, 2 walls of greenhouse plastic that had an air gap inside and have a heating source. And for us, that's just not
in the cards.
And it's not for most people. I mean, well, I'm not going to say nobody, but I don't know anybody that heats their greenhouse to extend the shoulder season. You just start plants inside, or you buy starts from somewhere else, because of the amount of money that it would cost to 1, build it, and 2, heat it. You might as well just be buying organic stuff at the grocery store, for that amount of money. You're really not getting ahead at all in that situation. Or at least that's my opinion.
And for us, being off-grid has been a big, huge learning experience for us. I don't know that we still quite have it figured out, because having to start all these seeds indoors means that you need some sort of artificial light.
Right.
Well, when you're on an off-grid system, that's pretty tricky. We're still figuring out how we manage that power. Some days the lights don't get turned on.
Yeah, because I figure some days it's cloudy, so a plant can understand or survive, and some days it's cloudy. You might think, well, you might be able to just put a plant in the window in March. Well, remember, we have very little light until right now. It's starting to get lighter and lighter, and there's an appreciable more amount of light than there is in the wintertime. But March, there's no light. There's not enough light to sustain a plant even sitting in the window.
Right.
So that's just not really even an option.
They won't die, but they get so long and leggy that, it's incredible. You end up with these tiny little spindly guys trying to reach out for the light,
and they can't. And without a solid thick stalk or stem base, they can't handle the transplant.
Right.
Even now, with as much care as we give our seedlings, and as much, good soil, good light, we try to move them around a lot. We try to simulate as much of real outside life for them as we can. And we have some things like brassicas. You got a 50% chance that that's going to be able to handle the transplant.
And it's been it's been really interesting because we didn't have nearly this kind of trouble even when we lived in town in Wasilla. And I think the growing season is only, what, 10 days shorter out here?
It's a week on either side, so we lose a week on either
2
side
weeks. Okay.
by being more north.
But it's been more of a learning experience than we thought. It's been fun, but
And now you know why we plant so many plants, because we assume half of them aren't gonna make it. You know?
and let's be honest, it's been a long winter. We're super excited about gardening, so we go a little overboard.
That never happens at our house ever.
Right? No.
We don't ready fire aim anything, especially plants.
Yeah, we plan everything out.
Oh Lord, I wish. I wish we had time to plan stuff, but
Yeah, don't we have a pig showing up soon?
ay ay ay. We do. Porcini.
He's coming.
Yeah, he's a Tamworth. He's gonna be a Tamworth baby.
Yep.
So we're excited about that.
I think the other thing that tends to be different in the spring up here is we can watch on our YouTube channels everybody's goat births and baby goats
Yeah.
for like a month and a half
Oh, yeah.
before we want to have babies. So
Right.
we actually semi-planned. I need to knock on some wood here because we haven't reached it yet, but
It's all
we
into the snow.
semi-planned our breeding a bit better this year. And so our kids should all arrive in May. But you look around, so many folks are having kids in March and April, and we have tried that, and
Oh, gosh.
yeah, it's not fun.
No, and because we live off grid, right? We have a finite amount of power. Having animals that are born and cannot sustain their own body heat in the temperature that it is in March and April doesn't work for us because you know, anything that's a plug-in heating element, a brooder, any of that stuff takes huge amounts of power, and that would completely throw off our system. We'd be running the generator every day just to heat baby chicks. And so we try to time it so that, okay, we want the baby chicks or the goats to be born in May so that they're big enough to sustain and handle and survive the winter by the time winter comes. So there's like this
Right.
fine balance. There's this very fine balance. And we have to do that, you know, for birds and geese and everybody. You know, you have to be not too small when it's still cold out in the spring, and you have to be big enough by the time winter comes again.
Yep.
You know, like for a short period of time, we were breeding meat rabbits.
Yep.
And, you know, they're supposed to be highly, you know, prolific, and you can make all this meat, and that's all great if you can have bunnies throughout the whole year. But, like, you can't have teeny tiny bunnies in the beginning of April. They'll freeze to death, you know?
Yeah.
Unless you own a power plant and can plug everything in. But that's not us. And so then, you know, we really had to plan out, okay, how many birds could we actually have before it got too cold, and those babies had to be big enough to be able to handle the winter. And so that we might try that again in the future, but not in the near future.
Yeah, I would like to try rabbits again.
Yeah, because, you know, it's when the snow's on the ground, there's no natural food. There's no,
Right.
we can go pick grass, we can go give them clover. We got to buy it at the store. And that's just kind of not our style for sure. Yeah, I think answering your question, it's that, you know, you got to start seeds at the right time, and
Yeah.
you got to plan your livestock births around the right time too, you know, because it's a long time before it's warm.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Mr. Reeve, what is your favorite thing about spring in Alaska?
Wow, what is my favorite thing about spring? Besides the snow leaving?
Besides yeah, that can be your favorite thing about spring in Alaska. So then what's your favorite thing about spring in general?
Ah, okay, in general. I think it's cheesy to say, and it's probably everybody's answer, but I think it's the new life. It's all the critters, you know,
Okay.
baby birds, baby goaties,
Yeah.
you know. Someday, hopefully, I'll talk you into baby piggos.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not too much talking into to make that happen.
Yeah, and the one thing that I really look forward to in the spring is I love the smell of tomato plants. I can't wait to smell. I know it's weird.
Well,
But-
the good thing is we got like 150 of them in our house. I don't even know. Probably more than that now. I don't even know.
Yeah. They know that smell you get when you prune tomato
Mhm.
plants. Oh, it smells so good.
It's
I love
like
it.
spicy and sweet at the same time.
I don't know. It's spring and summer. That's what it. Yeah.
Makes you happy.
How about you? How about you? We'll start there.
Okay, my favorite thing about spring in Alaska
In Alaska.
is that it's warm enough to be outside without a jacket, and there are no mosquitoes yet.
Oh yeah, you win.
That is the best part for me, is that life is it's like so refreshing after being cooped up in the house, after being barricaded in with snow piles for 5 or 6 months. And you can open the windows and not freeze to death, and open the doors and not freeze to death, and no mosquitoes. It's like you get a break from everything for a short period of time.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
And you get to see the sun again. Yay.
That too. I mean, yeah, that's a given.
Okay, so besides seeing the sun again, what happens in the spring that triggers your brain that says, "Oh, I see that. That means it's spring."
What thing triggers in my brain that it's spring? The birds. Hearing the birds.
Hearing the birds.
Then I know. In Alaska, these birds are tough cookies.
Yeah.
So it's like so great, because like February, you'll hear like cheep cheep, and I'm like, oh, spring's coming. I hear the bird. Those guys are tough. I don't know how they do it. They have such tiny little bodies. I don't know what they're doing or how they're doing it. But for me, that is like, oh, spring is here.
Right.
Spring is here. I hear the birds. Hey. Those are not your birds. Those are my birds.
That's my chicken. Leave it.
Yeah, we're distracted. You're trying to get away with it, huh? Yeah, that ain't gonna happen, buddy. Ay.
One thing I like in the spring when it comes to the birds is all the birds coming back. Like when you see a robin, you're like, it's springtime. And you see the ducks come back, and you see.
Are you drinking my root beer?
Like. Okay.
Trying to purr.
When you add a little bit of dog spit to your root beer, it just puts it right over the edge. But like the cranes come back, the swans. We had some swans fly over the house here just the other day.
Yeah.
All of it. Oh,
somebody's on alert.
it's WrestleMania.
It's neat because there's so many things that you just kind of get desensitized to over the winter, things that you don't see. Like, in all honesty, I hit the inside of the turn today when I was driving, because I'm just driving down the road, okay? And so when you make a turn, you're just used to the snowbank telling you where to go, and you just got to stay in between the snowbanks. But when the springtime comes, you got to start looking at the holes in the ground again and not drive into the ditch before you make a right-hand turn.
Because the snowbank's backed up a little bit.
Yeah, so that happened today.
Twice. But who's counting?
You're counting. Yes, twice. No, that's not true. The first time I hit... Oh, no, I did it twice.
I was going to say, how are you going to talk your way out of this one?
Twice in about a minute and a half. 2 right-hand turns.
See, I wasn't going to volunteer that. I'm a good husband.
Yeah. So things got to turn back on in your brain sometimes in the spring. Yeah. But you get to see, like you said, all the birds, the swans, all the small creatures like the squirrels are out. There's a lot more noise. There's a lot more noise of nature. Yeah. There's not one leaf that rustles in the wintertime because they're all dead
there
and
are
gone.
No leaves.
There's like nothing.
All the leaves are gone.
Yeah. So, okay, Mr. Reeve.
Okay.
You ready to wrap it up with the springtime speed round questions?
I'm a little afraid, but yeah.
It's okay. It's okay. You can be afraid. Okay. Favorite way to eat an Easter egg?
What? With my mouth.
You want to eat it in an egg salad sandwich. You like to eat it with salt.
Oh.
You like to make deviled eggs out of it.
Oh, yeah.
This is supposed to be
all
the
of that.
All the things.
Yeah, I love eggs. That's not even a fair question.
Okay, so all the things. Got it.
What about you? What's your favorite way to eat an Easter egg? Go.
Deviled eggs.
Okay.
Yeah, deviled eggs, and the ones that you can get like the veins of color from the egg dyeing. Those are the coolest ones.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Okay, question 2.
Okay.
Favorite Easter candy? Come on.
I don't know.
What? You can't answer all the candy this time.
No, it's
you set up on the eggs.
It's bad, but the only thing that pops into my head, they're not that good, but Mike and Ike's.
Oh, really?
I love Mike and Ike's.
Oh, it's definitely Cadbury egg for me.
Oh, yeah? Yeah, you love those.
Yeah.
They're okay.
As I get older, they are really sweet. Like, I could take one bite and I'd give you the rest, I think. But as a kid, man, you could just mow those down till you wanted to puke. The only time of year we got them, they were so good.
Because chocolate doesn't count. That's not just an Easter food. That's
can be an
all
Easter
year-round food.
Yes, but you could like...
Or else you're doing it wrong.
You could like to eat the ears off the bunny. That could be your favorite Easter
Everybody
candy.
likes that. You have to do that. That's probably
It's
a law
so-
somewhere.
No, it was like so sad to like eat his little face. I don't know. It's not for me. It's not for me. No. And it's like weird little candy eye. It's creepy.
They're gross. They never taste good.
No.
You don't eat the eyes.
Good to know.
Yeah. Have you ever had a solid chocolate Easter bunny?
I don't know.
They're
But-
all hollow. But like you can find solid ones.
Yeah, you're gonna break your teeth on it.
Dude, but there's so much chocolate. It's like,
No.
yes.
Yeah, and for those of you that don't know, chocolate is not my favorite thing in the world.
I eat Miss Crystal's
It's
chocolate.
just not.
Because
It's
she's
just
wrong.
not. Like,
chocolate is the best.
Like, I'll eat me a bite of a Reese's peanut butter cup, but that's about it.
Well, yeah, it's Reese's.
Let's see what-
Dark chocolate, if it's not a superfood, should be, because it's wonderful. Okay,
Oh,
I got one for you.
okay.
Speed round. So it's got to just be the first thing that hits your.
Okay,
your-
I'm
your
ready.
mind.
Let's go.
Okay, your first spring barbecue.
Yep.
What are you cooking? Hot dogs, chicken, or burgers?
Burgers.
Burgers.
Done. Easy cake. Chicken takes too long, and it might be raw in the middle. I'm out. Excuse me. Okay, Mr. Reeve.
Yeah.
Ready for the last speed round question?
What you got?
Okay. What's your favorite springtime drink?
Root beer.
Thanks for joining us on Flat Tire Farm. I hope you enjoyed our third Campfire Time video. We'll catch you on the next video, guys.